Framed by Power. The story of Alana Green. The faint glow of streetlights stretched long shadows across the cracked sidewalk as Alana Green trudged home after her shift at Rose's diner. Every step felt heavier than the last, her legs aching from the grueling 8-hour shift. The lingering scent of French fries clung to her hair, and her black work uniform, simple pants and a polo, was stained with grease. Adjusting the strap of her backpack, Alana slipped her hand into her pocket, counting her tips for the third time that night. $79.87, she murmured under her breath, her fingers sifting through the crumpled bills and loose coins. Her savings had grown to $212. Still not enough for the college application fees, but closer than I was yesterday, she thought. One more double shift and maybe, just maybe, I can finally send in my application to Howard University. The crisp autumn air nipped at her skin as the storefronts along Juniper Street stood dark, their windows reflecting her shadow as she passed. Pulling her denim jacket tighter around her shoulders, she felt the familiar weight of her chemistry textbook in her backpack, a constant presence, both comforting and heavy. A low hum drew her attention to her left. Headlights. A police cruiser. She kept walking, her pace steady, but her shoulders stiffened. Just routine patrol, she told herself, trying to calm the rising panic in her chest. But the cruiser didn't pass by. It slowed, trailing behind her, its engine humming low, like a predator stalking its prey. Then the sirens screamed to life. The blaring wail shattered the stillness of the night. Bright, blinding lights flooded the street, bathing her in harsh white, the world around her suddenly a stark contrast of light and shadow. Hands where we can see them. Get on the ground now. The voice boomed from the loudspeaker of the cruiser. Frozen, Alana stood, her hands trembling as she raised them into the air. Two officers sprang from the vehicle, weapons drawn, their movements sharp and swift. Officer Grant Reynolds, stocky, pale, with graying hair cropped short and eyes that were cold and unblinking, seized her arm, shoving her chest first against the hood of the cruiser. The hot metal burned her cheek. Her backpack was ripped from her shoulders, and its contents, a notebook, the tip money she had worked so hard for, and a tube of cherry lip balm, scattered across the pavement. I don't understand. Alana stammered, panic clutching at her chest, suffocating her. What did I do? But Reynolds paid her no mind, his gloved hands twisting her wrists into cuffs that bit into her skin. Armed carjacking 3 blocks away. You match the description. No, Alana cried, her voice cracking. I was at Rose's all night. Check the cameras. Talk to my manager. But Reynolds ignored her pleas, hauling her roughly to her feet. Officer Marcus Hayes, standing a few feet behind, glanced uncertainly at the scene as Reynolds shoved Alana into the back of the cruiser. Phones flashed from the sidewalk, bystanders recording, their faces a blur of silent judgment. No one stepped forward. Inside the cruiser, Alana's world seemed to shrink. Through the window, she watched her chemistry book flutter open on the sidewalk, its pages lifting in the breeze like broken wings. Her heart pounded in her chest as they sped toward the police station, the sound of the sirens still ringing in her ears. The station smelled of bleach and stale coffee. Under the unforgiving glare of fluorescent lights, Alana was fingerprinted, photographed, and searched. Her hoodie was taken from her, leaving her shivering in just a thin t-shirt. She was thrown into a holding cell with 3 other women, their faces blank, their bodies weary from their own struggles. Don't I get a phone call? Alana finally asked during shift change. You'll get one eventually, an officer sneered, walking past without a second glance. Hours dragged on. The harsh, unchanging light made it impossible to distinguish between night and day. Finally, a disheveled public defender arrived. I'm Gavin Pierce, he muttered without meeting her eyes. We need to prepare for your hearing. I'm innocent, Alana pleaded, her voice desperate. I was at work. We'll talk strategy later, Pierce said quickly, his disinterest palpable. No time now. The next morning, in court, Alana stood in her stained diner uniform, feeling small under the glare of Judge Raymond Caldwell's cold, stone-like gaze. The prosecutor laid out the charges with dramatic flair: armed carjacking, terrorizing an innocent victim, fleeing the scene. When Pierce tried to request a delay to gather evidence, like surveillance footage from Rose's or time card records, Caldwell cut him off with a wave of his hand. "The victim identified the defendant," he said firmly. "The evidence is clear." Alana's voice broke through, despite herself. "I was at work. You can ask anyone. Check the cameras." But silence fell, and Judge Caldwell barked at her to be quiet. In a single cruel moment, he sentenced her to 5 years in juvenile detention. Her mother, Deidre Green, screamed from the gallery. Her younger sister, Mia, stood frozen beside her, clutching their mother's hand. But Mia wasn't done yet. As the bailiffs began to drag Alana away, Mia pulled out their mother's phone and dialed a number. "Daddy," Mia's voice quivered as she spoke. "They took her." The courtroom fell still. The doors slammed open. U.S. Attorney General Julian Greenstro walked in, his presence crackling like a storm ready to break. "Release my daughter." Julian's voice rang out, low but commanding, instantly silencing the room. Judge Caldwell's smirk vanished, his face draining of color. He straightened in his seat, his knuckles white against the bench. "Mr. Green, this is my courtroom," Caldwell sneered. "Your position holds no authority here." But Julian's eyes, cold and unflinching, never wavered. "Then you won't mind if I give this case my personal attention." Panic flashed in Caldwell's eyes, and he quickly ordered the bailiffs to remove the defendant. But the weight of Julian's stare, sharp and unwavering, was a promise. This isn't over. Outside, the media swarmed. Cameras flashed, microphones shoved in Julian's face. "Attorney General Green, is your daughter innocent?" Inside his home that evening, Julian and his legal team worked tirelessly, but every door they tried to open slammed shut. Witnesses recanted. Evidence vanished. Court clerks misfiled documents. Someone was pulling strings, protecting a corrupt system. Julian made a final call. "Maya Sterling," he said to the investigative journalist on the other end. "I need your help." In the following days, chaos reigned. Mia unearthed damning evidence, emails, financial records, testimony from whistleblowers. Judge Caldwell wasn't just corrupt. He was part of a system tied to private juvenile detention centers. Every conviction filled his pockets, a quota he relied on to profit. Maya's exposé hit the news, and headlines screamed, "Private prisons payoffs." Judge Caldwell implicated in juvenile injustice scandal. Protests erupted across the country. Federal investigations were launched. Caldwell, cornered, shredded documents in his chambers, but the evidence against him was overwhelming: secret bank accounts, kickbacks, and quotas. Meanwhile, Alana remained at Greystone Juvenile Detention Center, under the control of Warden Max Draper, who ran the place like a fortress. Alana endured freezing nights, violent guards, and endless humiliation. Her cellmate, Sasha King, showed her how to survive. "Keep your head down," Sasha whispered in the dark, "and fight when it counts." But Alana's strength was tested when Officer Burke brutally beat her in the yard. They tried to silence her. They failed. Julian, Mia, and their team continued to gather irrefutable evidence. Former guard Nathan Brody came forward with damning logbooks and footage. The public outcry reached a fever pitch. The final blow came when security footage from a gas station revealed 2 white teens stealing the car, the same crime Alana had been falsely accused of. Julian's team found the tape just in time, before Caldwell's cronies could destroy it. A federal judge overturned Alana's conviction. She was released into the arms of her mother and Mia. Caldwell was arrested, charged with corruption, conspiracy, and abuse of power. Next came Warden Draper and Officer Burke. But Alana's story didn't end there. She enrolled at Howard University, determined to pursue pre-law. Her goal was clear: to fight for those who had been left behind by a broken system. Letters from Sasha at Greystone served as a constant reminder of the work still to be done. At graduation, Alana stood tall. Her diploma was more than a piece of paper. It was proof that they hadn't broken her. Her first case, a class action lawsuit against the very private prison company that had profited from her suffering. "I'm not here just for me," she said to a room full of young activists, her voice steady and filled with conviction. "I'm here for every kid still trapped in that system." The fight wasn't over. It was just beginning.